Hey there, all you dancing dandies. Welcome back to Broadway by Ghostlight. I'm Mark Benani, and I am back with another in-depth look at Schmigadoon Season 2 with its brilliant choreographer, Chris Gattelli. Today, we are diving into Episode 2, titled Doorway to Where. We take a look at the hysterical I Need to Eat audition sequence and the terrific trio number, Bustin Out. Towards the end, he also gives us a little tease to some wonderful Season 1 Easter eggs we can expect with one of his favorite little moments from last season. And there are more amazing pre-visualization footage peppered throughout where they were in the rehearsal process for the show. I am so excited to share it with you guys, so let's just get right to it. All right, I am back with Chris Gattelli. We are looking at episode 2 of season 2 of Schmigadoon, the title Doorway to Where. Chris, thank you so much for being back again.
Thank you for having me.
So the first two numbers of this episode actually are more musical staging than choreography. Do they still have you do like Doorway to Where and Jane's, I'm sure Jane's Roxy type number, but Doorway to Where, are you still staging all of that?
That was mostly the director with Aaron and Cinco. Like Cinco had very specific thoughts about like ideas for that, and he knew it was going to be pretty simple because it was in the cell.
Yeah, there's not really any, like I said, it's really just staging as opposed to dancing. Not really much you can do. But then we get to Jane's Roxy Heart number, which I mean was just so good. Her world of no, 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 no line, so funny.
Law school was a world full of no, 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 no.
Yeah, it was fun to work out though, because it was the timing of it had to be like not in a click per se, but because we knew that like somehow we had to hit these like we had to accent the words and phrases with these like musical stings and everything like that. But it was we taught Jane's numbers in sequential order so that way we could build off of what we did, which was really helpful for sure. So that, like, just getting a taste of like what this was with these, the little Fosse walks over to the window, which it's like here, when she pulls the blinds, and and then the little like finger swirl, so it was just all of those moments were great. It was a great way to kind of like start to unlock her, which was really, really fun.
And we'll get to talk much more about Jane in the third episode, which contains her big number, Bells and Whistles, which I cannot wait to see the full thing. I've only seen little snippets here and there, and it looks pretty spectacular. But we move into the first big dance sequence, probably one of the best sequences of any episode of Schmigadoon or maybe musical theater television ever, which is the I Hope I Get It, a chorus line audition sequence.
I need to eat. I need to eat. Last night my dinner was a candle. My dinner was a candle.
Which was so funny. So again, just like with Magic to Do in the first episode, how far did you want to go into the chorus line? Because now we're getting into like iconic choreography that the average person would actually get.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And that's why, again, because it was so specific. I mean, I knew I had to at least start with the up, up, down, down, because I wanted to make sure that people were clued in like right away, that we were like, this is what we are literally doing a chorus line like this, and knowing like where it was leading with like, their little monologues and whatnot. So I kind of was like, I really feel like at least starting with the first four in the jump, but then it was into like the pivots. And so and knowing it was a lot shorter was definitely helpful, because I didn't want to, you could easily do the whole thing, but I didn't want to do the whole thing. So it was a perfect amount of reference without going too deep, which was good.
So you mentioned like there's Pippin and Fosse moments. Break them all down for me. What do you remember from that initial sequence?
Well, there's always like a frog in a blender, which which I think we do at some point, or I know Cecily does for sure.
Cecily definitely does it.
Yeah, and it was fun because I never did the show, but I auditioned for it a million times when I was young, and so and that's what you do at the audition. So it's like, and I remember one of like I did it for Bjork once. I auditioned for her, and she was so like the passion that came out of her, out of respect. Same thing. It was that same thing. Like she, every single move, like that's, I kind of feel like I know it just from that audition because she was so specific, and she honored Bennett so well. And so it just, I mean, I knew a lot of that was in my body, but the part that really that got me was letting Cecily do the music in the mirror at the end of,
Yes.
I mean, that I mean, it's still, I know it's coming, but she still, she makes me laugh every single time she does it. It's
So
like that
funny.
was a dream come true. I was like, what if in this, this music in the mirror, knowing this like last bit of desperation for, like to get it out, and to know that like in our story that this was like, she's got to free Josh, so she'll do anything. It was like, but then she's like knocking out our competition. It was just, it was so much. It
And then
was
she
so
hits
much
the
fun.
Cassie pose at the end in her own
The
Melissa
end.
way.
I mean, that's basically my one of my screensavers on my phone is just Cecily in that pose. I was like, dream. I was like, I basically don't. It was like her doing that is just, it's one of my favorite things for sure.
It's so funny. And you got to work with a whole different group than you did for episode 1 and Do We Shock You? Because these are all different dancers, many of which
Yes.
are returning. Derek Paquette and uh, Ashley St. John, a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And then
So
a
it
few new
was nice
faces too.
because, and it was nice this year because we were able to break it out, and not like last year in Schmigadoon, it was definitely like the ensemble, and the ensemble mainly did like all of the numbers together. So it was nice this year to kind of be able to break it up and have like, the crack club girls and then the auditioners. And so it was nice to be able to like try to get as many people back in as we could, and also feature them more because they had like they have lines, and so that was really great too this year. I was really excited for the cast that I mean, that's why, I mean, to even start listing them, but like there were so many that it was nice to have them return and also have like these featured moments, and it was great.
So good. And then the next sort of number is Here Comes Bobby, which in the jailhouse, which you had to do some jailography, which those lyrics, I mean, get us off on technicalities are just, I mean, so good. And I mean,
Help us, Bobby, get us off on technicality.
Not now, fellas. Much as I'd like to give you the time, I simply cannot handle your appeal.
Okay, I was just
I mean,
I was like, I'm gonna do this. I was like, I don't know if it's gonna make it in, but I'm just gonna do it because I'm really, I'm the cheapest. So I was like, I'm just gonna do it, and we'll see. It could go to a tight close up on Jane, and that's fine. But I was like, it's in there. So
it's so funny. I mean, how do you go about choreographing? And then we'll get really into this in the next number, Bustin' Out, but small choreography, I guess, for lack of a better term, contained. You've got a jail cell with these bars to work with. How do you go about creating a dance movement for that?
But that was definitely influenced by Cell Block Tango in the Chicago movie, with the women behind the bars holding and like the different positions they were in. So that definitely played into the style of what the men were doing for sure back there. So it and knowing, but also knowing like that it was really all about like Jane's entrance. And I also didn't want to do that. It was a hard one to figure out because I wanted to do more technically, like I wanted the guys to do more. I was so tempted, but I was also like, but it's like focus is it has to be on Jane. Like we've got to watch her like stride in that place looking great. I mean, so that I was tempted, but I kind of, that's why I tried to keep the guys at a minimal level, but with a couple, a couple hints of things here and there. But yeah, it was, and she looks just dynamite. I mean,
So good. I mean,
dynamite.
she is.
That's why I was like, I can't stage that. You have to throw focus where it's meant to go. So it was a nice second reveal for her character, which is gonna now lead to the big build. But yeah, that was fun.
Bobby! So we get to Bustin' Out, one of the lower key songs, but honestly one of my favorites in the series so far.
Bustin' out, ba 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 ba, bustin' out, but baby I'll do without all of those chains that bound me.
It was definitely, what I loved about it was I loved that, and I think you mentioned, but I love that it got to do what like Cabaret really did, was like take a song that is like one thing on stage and like it's giving it a completely different context to something else that's happening. And when I read that script, I was so excited to see the way it was broken up, because I knew then the benefit of like TV film is that I could cut away, and they didn't have to be, like have their chains on their feet for the whole number, or you didn't have to worry about, oh, how do they get out of them? So you could cut back and forth, which was so so helpful in terms of just creating it. So because I knew I wanted to keep leveling it, like have them with a different prop or a different, I don't want to say gimmick, but a different just kind of like setup for each verse kind of chorus of it. So that was exciting to see, because I knew I was going to be able to cut away and come back to a different image and kind of motif. So that was really fun to come up with. And again, I just like, I can't stop praising these performers, but like, Dove, Ari, and Cecily, like they, because of everyone's schedules, like they had so little time to work on that, and like to tap dance and do that choreography chained together. I mean, I'm so grateful that they were up for it, because it's really tricky. I mean, you could like really, something could go wrong, and we did it a lot, and we routined it a lot, and we did it in steps, but I was so grateful to them for like committing to it and doing it, because it was a fun little, again, like I love the motif of it, that it kept the way it kept building. So and I really wanted to get that one in there, and I was happy they did.
Bustin' out, ba 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 ba, bustin' out, but baby it's time to shout. I'm done with these walls around me.
The visual of them climbing down the tied up bed sheets. I mean, that was just so fun.
Made me think you were my savior, but now I'm out on bad behavior. I'll go any place on earth just to escape your Leavenworth.
Was there any major choreography influence or Easter eggs?
I mean, to be honest, that one didn't have as much reference as it did just like the period and the style of the song, because of the I'm blanking on the original song, because now Bustin' Out's in my head, but from Company.
You Could Drive a Person Crazy.
You Could Drive a Person Crazy. So it was really kind of based on that, in terms of just like the tone and the style and period of the sound, which affected that. And I was trying to mainly capitalize on that period feel for it, which meant like these kind of like, the Andrew sistery kind of 3-part harmony, shouldery kind of hip, kind of like tight and small kind of movements. But then of course it gets bigger as we go on with the canes and stuff. But one storytelling bit that I did kind of like in there was, this is, I wouldn't consider this an Easter egg, but noticing like Cecily's progression through the song, that she starts in back of them as the newcomer, and then she's in line with them, and then she's in front leading at the point of the group by the end of the number, just to show the progression of like it's a level 17 kind of thing, but it's just like to show her progression of like confidence and like where she arrives by the end, that she is at the point of a triangle for them to applaud and acknowledge. And so that was kind of fun to work the math out about how to get her there in that way. So
That's so good. That's so good. And it must have been so fun just like fooling around with the chains and the broken canes to make these stage pictures, the hearts and the gels and all that. That probably just was just you fooling around with some previs dancers.
yeah, I mean, same thing. Like we have like, it was like, okay, what length? It was literally like, what length chain? How do you put a strap around someone's ankle so that they could still turn but not get caught or snug? And so there was a lot of, you know, like literal math involved in that. And same thing with the canes. Like we ended up like, how do you? So it ended up being like magnets. There was just a really strong magnet that they were able to break over their knee to make the bars. But even things like that, it was fun. It was a fun puzzle to figure out for sure. So
Amazing. Well, I know next episode, like we've said, we've got Bells and Whistles coming out, which I cannot wait to see. And then I think we're getting into Quick Street with some Sweeney Todd, which I cannot wait to see what Cinco Paul has in store for us that week. Is there an upcoming, not even from the next episode, but any of the episodes that obviously you don't want to get any spoilers. This is a no spoiler channel, but any number from any character that you're particularly excited for America to see?
oof, there's a few that are coming up. Jane's is definitely fun for sure. There's a fun one with I don't want to give anything away. Topher's friends that I'm really excited about. And oh gosh, it's something. There's a number on Quick Street that happens that I'm also really, it's really fun. So
I think I can tell. I think for the Topher one, I think they showed a clip of that at that Apple event I was. I think everyone should go rewatch Sweet Charity. I think is what you're alluding to. And then my guess is the other one. We've seen a couple trailer shots of the orphans throwing some plates around. So you're not saying it. I'm saying it, so you don't get in any trouble.
and I forget, like, yes, there are clips from the trailer, so we've seen there are orphans, and we've seen, you know, so yeah, so I'm not giving too much away, but it's mainly like when I get excited about that, it's mainly because I think back on like how hard everyone worked to make it happen, and I get giddy about that, because it's like, it's one thing to be in a room and like, or, you know, just in my head thinking of things, and then it's like you get in a room with like talented friends and do previs, but then to like see it like happen and come to life, and like see everyone like pitching in and contributing, and it just makes me giddy that that to see everyone like really go for it. So
well, thank you so much for sitting down with me. Schmigadoon, Schmicago, season 2. We will be back for episode 3, hopefully, and all the other shows. And I mentioned this to Chris earlier. If you all like it, and subscribe and let me know in the comments if you like it, maybe we'll go back and go through season 1 and cross that bridge again, because there is so many good Easter eggs that really people don't want to know. I feel like more people are familiar with Fosse than Agnes DeMille and Ona White, unfortunately, for sure. But not everyone can be you.
I could give a little teaser if they want to hit that like, and they want that.
Do it.
One of my favorite. This is literally like almost like my top 5 moments of like creating things. Is when we did Enjoy the Ride in episode 1. I mean, in season 1, with Aaron and Cecily, they end the number. This is not a spoiler, but they end the number and in a dip, and I said, Cecily, when Aaron dips you, I said, look out at the camera, and she was on an interview somewhere saying like that's one of the best notes she got in her life, to like actually not even look in the eyes of the romantic partner, but to like look in the camera. And but I did it. It's literally from It's the button of Best Things Happen When You're Dancing in White Christmas. It's with Danny Kaye and Vera Ellen. They do this amazing number basically in like 3 shots, like 3 long shots, you know, and at the very end, they're dancing and dancing and twirling and twirling. And at the very end, they end in a dip and she's fully out at the camera. And it always tickles me when it's like a tradition. I watch it every year. And it always tickles me when I watch it because it tickles me. And then to actually be able to put it on Cecily and Aaron. And so like I also have a picture of like that shot of Cecily and Aaron and that shot of Danny and Vera, like side by side, just both like and again, it just tickles me because it's something that it just makes me giggle. And if someone else catches it, they catch it. But it's again all done out of like love and that like I get to do that. So that's one little Easter egg from the season 1, but
I love it. I love it. I love these Easter eggs. That's my bread and butter. So thank you for helping me explore all the Easter eggs in the choreography world for Schmicago.
Anytime. It's fun.
Thank you again so much to Chris Gattelli for sitting down with me and sharing all his amazing Schmigadoon secrets. I know I am fascinated and so impressed with the love and the knowledge he puts into every moment of the show. I'm sure you guys are too, so show him some love in the comments and let him know you want an episode by episode season 1 breakdown as well.
Oh, I want that footage. I want it. I need it.
A huge thank you to Stephen Binsky for helping me acquire this previs footage, and for the whole previs dancers and choreography team and the show cast and crew for allowing us to dive into these moments and see the whole process from beginning to end. By the time this video is live, episodes 3 and 4 of my breakdowns with Chris Gattelli will have been filmed. They'll be coming out on Tuesdays, so make sure you're subscribed so you won't miss any future breakdowns with Chris or any of my regular episode breakdowns. You can follow me, of course, on the socials at bwayghostlight. If you want a fun Schmicago themed shirt like mine, there's a link in the description that helps out this channel. And for fun perks like cut moments from these interviews with Chris, head on over to my Patreon and check that out. A huge thank you to my amazing producer level patrons. I truly appreciate your support and the support of all my amazing patrons. I'll see you back here on Friday for the next Schmigadoon episode breakdown and Tuesday for the next Chris Gattelli dance breakdown. But until then, this is Broadway by Ghostlight. I'm Mark Bonanni. Thanks for watching. Oh, I need to eat. Last night my dinner was a candle.